Pavel Krylov
and Beata Raskina
are with you.
Now we're going to tell you about the most interesting occasions in our town. I think you remember the George Elephant's case. 3 years ago he was sent to prison with hard labor for 7 years because he murdered his wife. But in the end, so much sympathy was for George that his time in prison was reduced to 3 years.
He behaved himself well and is free now. While he was in prison, he wrote a book, Being Elephant, about travels in life with an extraordinary name. And today you can buy these 3 books in every bookstore in our town.
You, the Smiths and Robinsons, who have never suffered in this way, may smile. The unwelcome attention from impolite strangers may seem to you unimportant, but change your name to a foolish one, even for 2 weeks, and see what happens to you. True story from true murder.
And now the rubric Strange Things in Our Everyday Life. Today we are going to tell you about our regular viewer, Mr. Maple. He was a great reader of detective fiction. With time, his suspiciousness turned into paranoia. He thought that somebody wanted to poison his friend, Mr. Douglas, with arsenic.
One day he didn't get him on the phone. Half an hour later he didn't find him in his house. Then he called to the hospital, but there were no patients with arsenic poisoning.
And then he realized that Phoebe White wanted to hide him in the hospital. His friend needed help. There was no time to wait. He took arsenic to himself to get in the hospital, but the dose was too high. He died.
And now we will find out some details from Mrs. Douglas, the wife of our fortunate friend.
My husband and I had holiday and traveled to Mallorca. He had told me about his friend who was a great and a reliable man, but the detective fiction began to affect his daily life too much. His observation turned into a morbid suspiciousness. So, that's why we didn't tell him that we are going to travel. And yesterday we turned back and recognized that he was dead. And he died so foolishly. Jack can't speak now. He wanted even to take arsenic to himself. He was so shocked. And now he is in a psychiatric clinic.
Our program is coming to its end. See new show Paranormal is Normal after it. There you can enjoy the interviews with Mrs. Elephant, Mr. Maple and one ghost from the burned house.
I'm Mrs. Elephant, and I was killed by my own husband. The court showed sympathy for my murder, because his lawyer thought up psychological background for his actions. Probably I made fun of his name instead of helping him to forget it. But the truth is that he was fond of another woman, and I found it out. This despot just calmly cut my throat. And I was so young and beautiful.
I'm Mr. Marco. I'm dead, but I'm not afraid. I know that is something wrong with this trip to Mallorca. I'm a ghost now, so I can enter place I want, and I will learn the truth. As soon as I do it, I will.
I'm Mrs. Holt, and I understand Mrs. Elephant so much. I used to be young and beautiful too, but the fate doesn't like young and beautiful women. It burned my house. I had no way to escape. I had died in flames. I became free. Before I left this cruel world, I had appeared before my ex-husband and looked at his mendacious eyes, and I saw his fear. I was satisfied